Have you ever laid in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if love will ever find you? I see you.
I know that feeling, that ache in your heart when everyone around you seems to have someone and you're still waiting.
The weddings, the engagements, the anniversaries, they all remind you of what you don't have. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to wonder if something's wrong with you. If you're too much or not enough, if you've missed your chance, let me stop you right there. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not behind. And you have not missed out on the love you deserve. But here's the truth no one tells you. Finding the right partner isn't about waiting for love to magically show up. It's not about endlessly swiping, changing yourself, or settling for someone just because you're afraid to be alone. It's about something much deeper, something most people never talk about. Because the greatest way to find a partner is not about looking for them. It's about becoming the version of yourself who is already whole, already powerful, already radiating the kind of energy that attracts the right love. You are not here to chase love. You are here to embody love. And when you do that, when you step into your power, your worth, and your truth, the right person won't just notice you. He'll recognize you. The biggest mistake we make when it comes to love is thinking that we have to go out and find it. That if we just look hard enough, swipe enough, or meet enough people, we'll finally stumble upon the one. But love doesn't work that way. It's not about searching, hunting, or chasing. It's about who you are becoming in the process. Think about it. If you're constantly looking for someone to complete you, to make you happy, or to give you a sense of worth, what does that say? It says that you don't already believe you are whole, happy, and worthy on your own. And when you carry that energy into the world, you attract partners who reflect that same insecurity back to you. You might find someone who loves the idea of rescuing you, but that kind of love never lasts, because the moment you grow, the moment you start standing on your own, the dynamic shifts and suddenly they don't know how to love you anymore. The truth is, the best relationships don't come from searching. They come from becoming. When you shift your focus away from finding someone and instead focus on becoming the version of yourself who is already living a full, rich, and beautiful life, everything changes. You stop needing someone to fill the gaps because you've already done the work to fill them yourself. And ironically, that's when the right person appears, not because you needed them, but because you attracted them by being whole. Imagine if, instead of waking up every morning feeling frustrated that you're still single, you asked yourself, how can I make today incredible for me? What if you started chasing your dreams instead of chasing love? What if you focused on building the life that excites you so much that a relationship becomes a bonus, not the main event? Think about the kind of person you want to be with. Someone confident, passionate, happy, secure? Secure? Now ask yourself, are you embodying those qualities? Because like attracts like. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. This means if you want a partner who is kind, ambitious, emotionally mature, and deeply loving, you need to cultivate those qualities within yourself. And as you do, you naturally start attracting people who operate at the same level. You won't have to beg for attention, settle for crumbs, or chase after people who aren't ready for love, because the right kind of love will recognize you effortlessly. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who is in love with her own life. She doesn't need validation, she doesn't settle, and she doesn't wait for someone to come along and give her a reason to be happy. She already is. And in that energy, that confidence, it's magnetic. When you start living in a way that excites you, when you pursue your passions, when you surround yourself with people who inspire you, and when you refuse to settle for anything less than the love you truly deserve, the game changes. Love stops being something you chase and becomes something you naturally attract. So stop asking, where is he? And start asking, who am I becoming? Because the moment you step into your power, love won't be something you have to search for. It will be something that finds you. When it comes to love and relationships, most people focus on the external, how they look, what they wear, or how they can appear more attractive. But the truth is, none of that matters as much as the energy you bring into a room. Your energy, your confidence, your presence, these things speak louder than anything else. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who wasn't conventionally perfect by society's standards, yet they had this undeniable magnetism?
They walked into a room and people just gravitated toward them.
They weren't trying too hard. They weren't faking confidence. They just were. That's the power of energy. And the same is true for love. It's not about having the perfect body, the best hair, or the trendiest outfit. It's about how you make people feel when they are around you. Do you radiate joy? Do you bring warmth and confidence into a room? Do people feel uplifted in your presence? Because that's what makes someone truly attractive. Now, let's be real. If you're constantly doubting yourself, if you're walking into dates or social situations thinking, I hope they like me, or I'm not good enough, that energy shows. It's like an invisible cloud around you. And no matter how great you look on the outside, people will feel the insecurity beneath it. On the flip side, when you walk into a room owning who you are, when you bring self-love and confidence with you, when you carry yourself with the energy of someone who knows their worth, that is irresistible. That kind of energy draws people in. And here's the best part. You don't have to be perfect to embody this energy. Confidence isn't about looking a certain way. It's about knowing that you are already enough. It's about believing that you deserve love, not because of how you look, but because of who you are. So, how do you cultivate this energy? How do you step into a version of yourself that naturally attracts the right kind of love? First, you need to shift your mindset. Stop focusing on what you think you lack and start embracing what makes you extraordinary. Every single person has something unique and beautiful about them, including you. Maybe it's your kindness, your intelligence, your humor, or your passion for life. Whatever it is, own it. Second, take care of yourself, not because you need to change, but because you love yourself enough to do so. When you prioritize your well-being, when you treat your body with love, when you pursue hobbies and passions that make you happy, your energy shifts. You start radiating self-respect and joy, and that energy is what people notice. Third, stop seeking validation. The most attractive people are the ones who don't need attention to feel good about themselves. They are content with who they are, and that kind of self-assurance is powerful. When you no longer seek approval from others, when you stop trying to impress and instead just show up as your authentic self, the right people will recognize your value. Lastly, pay attention to how you talk to yourself. If you are constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never find love, or that no one will want you, that belief will shape your reality. Your energy will reflect it. Instead, start speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a best friend. Encourage yourself. Believe in yourself, believe it. Because when you start showing up in life with confidence, with joy, and with self-love, you won't have to chase love. You won't have to prove your worth to anyone. The right people will feel your energy. They will be drawn to you, not because of how you look, but because of the powerful magnetic energy you bring into the world. One of the biggest reasons people end up in toxic, unfulfilling, or short-lived relationships is because they're looking for love before they've healed. They're searching for someone to fill a void, to take away their loneliness, or to validate their worth. But here's the truth. Love is not supposed to fix you. It's supposed to complement you. When you haven't healed from past wounds, whether it's childhood trauma, heartbreak, betrayal, or self-doubt, you subconsciously bring that pain into your relationships. You might not even realize it, but unhealed wounds show up in so many ways. Or maybe you settle for less than you deserve because deep down you don't feel worthy of more. Maybe you cling to someone who isn't right for you because you're afraid of being alone. Or maybe you sabotage good relationships because your past has taught you that love always ends in pain. Unhealed wounds make you attract the wrong kind of love. They make you mistake attachment for love, anxiety for passion, and toxicity for intensity. That's why healing is everything. Because when you heal, you stop looking for someone to save you. You stop attracting people who mirror your wounds. And most importantly, you start choosing love from a place of wholeness, not desperation. So how do you heal before you attach? How do you make sure that when love comes, you're ready to receive it fully and healthily? First, face your past. Be honest with yourself about the patterns you've repeated in relationships. Have you always been drawn to emotionally unavailable people? Have you settled for less than you deserve? Have you stayed in relationships longer than you should have out of fear? These patterns don't just happen by accident. They come from deeper wounds that need to be acknowledged and healed. Second, stop looking for love as a distraction from yourself. Many people jump from relationship to relationship because they don't want to sit with their own emotions. But true healing happens when you learn to be comfortable with yourself. Spend time alone. Get to know who you are without someone else defining you. What do you love? What excites you? What makes you feel at peace? When you know yourself deeply, you stop needing someone else to fill that space. Third, build your self-worth from the inside out. If your worth is dependent on whether or not someone loves you, you will always feel unstable in relationships. One day they give you attention and you feel amazing. The next day they pull away and you feel worthless. That's not love. That's insecurity. True self-worth comes from knowing that you are valuable, regardless of who chooses to be in your life. You are enough just as you are. Fourth, learn how to regulate your emotions. Love will trigger you. It will bring up fears, insecurities, and past wounds. But when you've done the work to heal, you won't let those emotions control you. Instead of lashing out, shutting down, or pushing people away, you will be able to communicate, trust, and navigate relationships with clarity and confidence. Finally, trust that the right love will come at the right time. You don't have to force it. You don't have to chase it. When you are healed and whole, the right person will recognize that energy and meet you there. You won't have to convince them of your worth. You won't have to fight for their attention. Love will just flow because at the end of the day, real love doesn't complete you. It meets you at your highest level and it makes the beautiful, whole, healed version of you shine even brighter. One of the biggest reasons women end up in unfulfilling relationships is because they lower their standards out of fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of never finding someone better, or fear of being seen as too much. But here's the truth. The love you accept is a direct reflection of the standards you set for yourself. When you don't truly believe in your worth, you tolerate things you shouldn't. You overlook red flags. You settle for bare minimum effort. You convince yourself that maybe this is the best you can get, that asking for more is unrealistic. But deep down, you know it's not enough. You feel it in the moments when you're alone, in the silence between text messages, in the way your heart sinks when you realize you're giving more than you're receiving. And let's be real, society has conditioned women to believe that having someone is better than having no one. We are taught to be accommodating, to be patient, to make excuses for men who don't show up for us the way we deserve. But here's what no one tells you. Lowering your standards doesn't get you love. It gets you pain, exhaustion, and disappointment. So how do you raise your standards and, more importantly, keep them? First, get crystal clear on what you want and what you refuse to tolerate. This isn't about creating an unrealistic checklist of superficial qualities. This is about knowing your non-negotiables. Do you want a partner who is emotionally available, who communicates with honesty, who respects your time and effort? Then don't entertain anyone who can't meet those standards. Because the moment you make excuses for someone's lack of effort, you send a message to them and to yourself that you're willing to accept less. Second, stop ignoring red flags. The biggest mistake women make is thinking they can change someone. You cannot turn an inconsistent man into a devoted partner. You cannot make someone ready for love when they're not. And you cannot force someone to treat you right when they don't want to. If a man shows you through his actions that he is not invested, believe him. Your time, energy, and heart are too valuable to waste on potential. Third, develop the courage to walk away. Raising your standards isn't just about knowing what you deserve. It's about refusing to settle for anything less. And that means being willing to leave situations that don't serve you, even when it's hard, even when you love them, even when part of you hopes they'll change. Because keeping your standards means choosing you over the fear of being alone. Fourth, learn to be okay with waiting. The reason so many women lower their standards is because they're afraid that if they don't, they'll end up alone. But being single and happy is 1,000 times better than being in a relationship that drains you. The right love is worth waiting for. The right person will meet your standards without you having to beg, chase, or compromise your self-worth. Finally, understand that your standards are a reflection of your self-love. When you truly love and respect yourself, you don't tolerate half-hearted love, mixed signals, or inconsistent effort. You don't make excuses for bad behavior. You don't settle for good enough. You hold out for a love that is certain, secure, and fulfilling. Because the right person won't be intimidated by your standards. They won't see them as too much. They will meet them with ease because they were always capable of giving you the love you deserve. And the best part? When you hold your standards high, you won't have to do the work of filtering out the wrong ones. They'll filter themselves out. And the right one, he will rise to meet you. One of the biggest lies we've been conditioned to believe is that love has to be hard, that relationships are supposed to be a struggle, that real love means fighting, chasing, proving, and constantly working to keep someone's attention. But here's the truth. Love that is meant for you will feel like home, not a battlefield. Yes, relationships take effort. Yes, there will be challenges, but there is a difference between effort and struggle. Effort is mutual. Effort is mutual. It's two people choosing each other every day, learning, growing, and working through difficulties together. Struggle, on the other hand, is one person constantly trying to prove their worth, hold things together, or fight for someone who isn't fully invested. If love feels like an uphill battle, if you're always anxious, always second-guessing, always waiting for someone to show up for you the way you show up for them, that's not love. That's emotional exhaustion. Love should bring peace, not confusion. It should feel safe, not like you're walking on eggshells. It should feel consistent, reliable, and secure, not like a never-ending cycle of highs and lows. So why do so many women find themselves stuck in relationships that feel like a battlefield? Because we've been taught that if love isn't intense, it isn't real. We mistake anxiety for passion. We confuse inconsistency with excitement. When someone gives us just enough attention to keep us hooked, but not enough to feel secure, we mistake that for chemistry. But real love isn't supposed to make you question your worth. It's supposed to remind you of it. If you constantly feel like you're chasing someone, trying to convince them to choose you, or hoping they'll finally give you the love you deserve, that's not your person. The right person will never put you in a position where you have to beg for their time, effort, or affection. The right person will make it clear. You won't have to decode mixed signals. You won't have to fight to be a priority. You won't have to shrink yourself to fit into their world. So how do you recognize a love that feels like home? First, it's consistent. There is no hot and cold behavior, no guessing games, no sudden disappearances, followed by grand romantic gestures to reel you back in. The right love is steady, not a roller coaster. It feels safe, not like an emotional gamble. Second, it brings out the best in you. Pay attention to how you feel around someone. Do you feel loved, valued, and secure? Or are you constantly anxious, trying to earn their approval, walking on eggshells to avoid upsetting them? The right love will never make you feel like you have to prove your worth. Third, it's easy to communicate. You don't have to be afraid to express your feelings. You don't have to hold back out of fear of pushing them away. The right person will make space for your emotions, will listen to understand, and will work with you, not against you. Fourth, it feels like partnership, not sacrifice. You don't have to give up your dreams, your happiness, or your sense of self to keep the relationship together. The right person will support your growth, not see it as a threat. They will encourage you to be your fullest, most authentic self. Lastly, it feels peaceful. Not in a boring way, but in a way that feels grounding. Love should be exciting, but it should also be secure. You shouldn't have to wonder if they'll leave, if they truly care, or if you're the only one putting in the effort. Real love feels safe. It feels like a place where you can rest, where you can be yourself, where you don't have to question if you are enough to question if you're enough. Because here's the truth. Love is not supposed to break you. It's supposed to build you. It's supposed to feel like home. And the moment you experience that kind of love, you'll realize that everything before it was just a lesson in what you should never settle for again.